the black market. The thing your dad is totally familiar with after watching an Escobar documentary and binge watching Narcos. But what if I told you that there is an illicit market for one of the most seemingly common elements in the world? And the money being made on these sketchy trades would make Escobar blush. Join us as we explore the market for sand. That's right, the thing your dad absolutely does not want in the car after a long day in the beach. But you forgot to wipe off your shoes and you're hoping he doesn't notice. Well, this thing that you want to wipe off your shoes is a $300 billion market. Demand for sand mining has more than tripled in the last 2 decades, driven mainly by construction. Sand is a crucial component in concrete, binding, asphalt, and draining. Or so I'm told. I know nothing of construction. I have a very demanding desk job. We use about 50 billion tons of sand and gravel per year to keep expanding our beautiful cities. And you say, Jose, that's all well and good, but why are we even talking about sand? Is there some kind of shortage on sand? I don't know if you know, but we have something called deserts, which have like bajillion tons of sand. I thought so too, but apparently wind-blown desert sand has been eroded over millennia into smooth, tiny marbles that cannot bind cement. Construction requires rough, angular sand, which is found in our beautiful riverbanks and beaches. And with construction demand up 300%, we are consuming these sands at a much quicker rate than the planet can replace it, which makes a seemingly abundant resource scarcer than expected. So if the world is running out of construction sand, but construction demand is up significantly, who fills the gap? The Sand Mafia. And I'm not exaggerating the name. Whenever there's a scarce, valuable resource, poachers are bound to show. But this isn't your standard back alley business. The global illegal sand trade feeds a massive black market, estimated to be worth between 200 billion and 350 billion per year. Illegal sand extraction is ranked as the 3rd largest criminal enterprise on the planet. But who's actually making money on illegal sand? Well, quite a few people actually. Here's how it works. Everything starts at the source. Sweet, beautiful sand that is probably full of hidden dog poop. The primary driver of this black market is that the cost of goods sold is essentially zero. Extractors pay no land rights, no taxes, and no environmental fees. They just need the muscle to secure the territory. The boys. This sounds insane, but is 100% real. In India, for example, there is a syndicate actually known as the Sand Mafia. They ruthlessly protect their sand, resulting in the murders of hundreds of activists, journalists, and police officers. After extraction, they have to sell the loot. But the problem is, legitimate, law-abiding developers will not purchase ill-gotten sand. So the sand has to go through a good old-fashioned financial washing. This means bribing local officials, forging paperwork, and even though the developers do a proper inspection, they buy it anyway. In Morocco, about 10 million cubic meters of sand are extracted annually, and an estimated 50% of that comes from illegal, undocumented coastal mining. Yeesh. Corruption in this market is so brazen that an Inact Africa investigation found that trucks used transporting illegal sand to construction sites were allegedly property of Moroccan MPs and politicians. Yeesh. Some more sophisticated cartels found that you can double dip. You can even make money on the empty hole you created. In Italy, traditional crime syndicates run a massive environmental crime branch known as the Ecomafia. They make money twice. Once when they sell the sand, and then they charge industrial companies millions to illegally dump their toxic waste into the empty hole. Dove dovrei mettere questo? Proprio qui va bene. Grazie. Prego. And of course, the final state in this flow is a brand spanking new luxury hotel. By purchasing cheap and unverified sand, massive developers and investment funds increase their profit margins on mega projects and infrastructure. But what exactly is being built? Why do we need all this sand? Well, how about building your own tiles in civilization IRL? Since the 1960s, the densely populated city-state of Singapore has increased its physical landmass by 25%. To achieve this, they didn't conquer land, they built it, importing over 500 million tons of sand and pouring it into the ocean to create prime real estate out of thin air. But this type of extraction has consequences. Singapore's aggressive sand importing began degrading the environment of its neighbors, to the point where Cambodia officially banned the export of sand to Singapore in 2017, effectively treating the resource as a matter of national security. Yeah, you have to be a good neighbor and all. Another example is Dubai, which is literally swimming in sand. But as we said, desert sand is too smooth and round to bind concrete. Dubai had to, ironically, import massive amounts of high-grade construction sand from Australia. In the South China Sea, China uses massive fleets of cutter suction dredgers to vacuum the ocean floor. Then they dump this sand on top of submerged coral reefs to build artificial islands. And why do they need these islands, you ask? Well, to pave them with concrete military runways to physically expand their sovereign maritime borders in international waters. Duh! What do you expect them to do, huh? To not destroy coral reefs to expand militarily? To not destroy the ocean for military runways? Have some sense! And this debauchery will continue as demand for concrete skyrockets across the globe. The much loved and uncontroversial AI boom requires a massive amount of physical infrastructure just to construct the hyperscale data centers required to house AI servers and manage their extreme cooling and power needs. This means that legitimate sand supplies will be squeezed, and developers will turn to the cheaper, faster black market sand mafia to keep the project moving. But it's worth noting that it's not all sunshines and rainbows when buying illegal sand. To maximize volume and skip expensive processing, illicit miners often extract coastal sea sand without washing it. This leaves high levels of salt or chloride in the aggregate. And when unwashed, dirty, filthy, sandy Mafia sand is used in construction aggregate, the liquid ion erosion attacks the internal structure. This concrete cancer, as they call it, is a ticking time bomb. It aggressively rusts the steel rebar reinforcements from inside out until the infrastructure collapses. Those horrible videos of newly built construction going down make a little bit more sense now. But how do we fix this, huh? Well, believe it or not, people are doing stuff. Stuff is being done. To choke out the cartels, the UN is pushing to reclassify sand from common material to strategic resource, subjecting it to global tracking and taxation like crude oil. There is also some science being made. The leading physical solution is recycled concrete aggregate. Instead of mining virgin sand, developers crush the demolition waste of old buildings to create new aggregate. Also recycling. That's the innovation? Well, historically, RCA was too weak or porous, but newly patented chemical admixtures act as super binders, allowing developers to use recycled waste materials without, well, you know. There's also some work being done on bio-derived substitutes. Agricultural waste has been successfully entering the heavy construction supply chain. Researchers are now partially replacing sand and cement with materials like rice husk ash, hemp, and bamboo. And sometimes it's even an upgrade. Studies prove that replacing up to 10% concrete mix with rice husk ash actually increases comprehensive strength. Oh, sweet nature. When you're not actively trying to kill us, you sure provide. That's all well and good, but let's be real. The only way for any of this to take off is if it starts making people money. What's good news for us filthy capitalists is that yes, money will be made. Legitimate developers are finally seeing a financial upside. The recycled concrete aggregate market was valued at approximately $9.75 billion in 2024, and that is projected to nearly double to $8.74 billion by 2034. It is no longer about just saving the environment, it's about saving money. RCA drastically lowers transportation costs, reduces landfill fees, and provides massive raw material cost savings compared to mining and shipping natural virgin aggregates. And what was once useless agricultural waste is now a highly lucrative commodity. The global market for rice husk ash is actively scaling, projected to grow from 2.8 billion to 4.8 billion by 2035. Making money out of something that was previously being thrown away is pretty cool. Who knows, with all these technological advances, developers can maybe someday quit this unsustainable, toxic relationship that has caused so much hardship. Don't you take another step.
Baby, don't be like that.
No. I found someone new. Someone that won't hold up my project for ransom when he feels like it.
Aw, come on, I didn't mean that. It was just me having some fun with the boys.
No, I'm done. Did you know we can use rice husk now? Recycle concrete aggregate? We can use bamboo, for crying out loud.
Bamboo? You for real, bamboo?
You can't change your construction material composition overnight. Maybe not overnight, but you best believe I'm gonna try. So scram. Get out of here. This is a legitimate construction site now.
Oh wow, you're serious. Okay. I'll leave you be.
That's right.
On second thought, cough up those rice husks.
Oh no! Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, YouTube thinks you'll like this next one. So if I were you, I'd just click, you know? Go with the flow. You don't want to refuse an offer.